Hey everyone, my name is Sensei Suplex, and today I'm going to be telling you exactly how you can get started in playing in the D&D MMORPG Project Aurora. So this is going to be a tutorial. Now granted, there are two types of tutorials. There is a written tutorial that you'll see in the Discord, and there is also this tutorial, which is more of the audio-video version for people who are more visual learners to help you guys understand stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to Project Aurora, but first off, we got to start with Chapter 1. What is Project Aurora? So the cool thing is you don't need to know anything about D&D to understand Aurora. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Project Aurora is an online adventure world where you create a character and play through stories with other people, like a mix between a tabletop RPG and an actual living MMO, or massive multiplayer online game. A session is just a 2 to 3 hour online game where a storyteller, called a DM or Dungeon Master, guides you through an adventure, and you choose what your adventurer or your character does. Aurora gives you two ways to experience that world. The first way is Campaigns mode. A small party, same group, but one continuous story. Campaigns mode is basically you and a consistent team play through a full storyline together, chapter by chapter. Think of it kind of like a Netflix series. So same cast, same story, long-term relationships, big character moments, you name it. You see, your choices help shape the fate of the continent of Leonios and the greater world of Tahiri. That is West Marches mode. This also takes place on Tahiri just like Campaigns mode. It's a massive, flexible, open world adventure. No set group and no pressure. You see, West Marches mode is basically where you sign up for sessions whenever you want with different players and dungeon masters each time. Think of it as an actual video game-esque MMO. A big shared world where players come and go, and the world keeps moving regardless. And every quest pushes the story of the world forward. So this is perfect if you want maximum flexibility and you just kind of want to play D&D without really any weekly commitments. You get more combat and exploration compared to roleplay, but the world is always active, no matter what. This is the free-flowing arcade experience of Aurora. You see, both modes, they shape the same universe, and this is kind of the magic part. So no matter which mode you pick, your character leaves a mark on the same living world. Campaign choices can ripple into West Marches, and West Marches events can echo into campaign arcs. Well, ask yourself this: do you want a consistent group and story that doesn't fizzle? Well, you're probably going to want to go for Campaigns mode. Or do you want a flexible scheduling and a bit of variety? Well, West Marches mode may be your thing. However, before you choose, if you're going to pick West Marches mode requires commitment like staying consistent in a gym. If you're not consistent, your experience will suffer severely. So keep that in mind. Many players do both game modes over time, so you're not locked in. Choose whichever one fits best for you. Now, typically at the time of this recording, Campaigns mode is typically pay to play because it's more of a curated and more of an experience that is better for newer players to Project Aurora, as it's more akin to the thing that they're typically used to. Meanwhile, West Marches mode is kind of just throwing you out in the open and having you more so do everything on your own and figuring it out as you go. So think of it this way: if you need a bit of assistance and you really want to get into this world and really dive deep into it, Campaigns mode is probably your best bet. If you're trying to just jump in and just play a couple of games with your friends that you already know in the Discord, West Marches mode may be more of your style. That said, for anything else, you got to submit an application. Once you're accepted, you'll go through an onboarding process and then start making your character. Two things that you need to know is that 1, you need to be at least 18 or older to play. Number 2, you must have a computer or laptop capable of running Foundry VTT to play. If you can run Roll20, Owlbear Rodeo, etc., you'll be fine. Foundry is more of just a website application that we use to simulate all the dice rolls, move your characters, and show a bunch of visuals for the characters and for you as the player to see. So submit your application by going to Join Aurora, like this channel right here that's in the tutorial. Afterwards, you're going to be contacted in the Aurora application waiting room by one of our Project Aurora staff members, specifically someone probably from the player manager team. Also, make sure to check your message request folder or spam folder. Yes, it actually does exist. Let's go to Chapter 2, how to make your character. So, your character is your avatar in the Aurora universe, or the Auroraverse, the hero that you'll take on quests, level up, and build your legacy with. Making one is simple, even if you've never played D&D before. This chapter is going to walk you through the entire process from choosing where your character's from, building them on D&D Beyond, and uploading them to the Aurora bot, making their art and token, and all that good stuff. So, by the end, you'll be ready to jump into your very first quest. First, step 1, we gotta pick where your character comes from. See, Aurora has multiple continents, each with its own culture, vibe, and style of adventures. If you don't know D&D lore at all, Don't worry, these summaries are all you need to help you choose. You see, Caesar or Leonios is a kingdom in open revolt against a tyrant whose rule has choked the land. This is great for characters tied to rebellion, loyalty, or the fight for freedom. Now, the thing about Leonios is that this is specifically available only to campaign mode players. If anybody's familiar with Arcane or League of Legends, then think Demacia from Runeterra. That's kind of the vibe here. And Leonios actually has its own character creation guide here. C1, Keeper's Coast. Think Bilgewater from Runeterra. So a massive island chain with storms, dragons, and sea-traveling cultures. Great for sailors, dragon-linked heroes, storm mages, and other adventurers. Then we have C2, or Altaj. Think Shurima from Runeterra. So sun-soaked deserts, ancient civilizations, and magic tied to creation and destruction. Great for wanderers, warriors, scholars, and other sun-touched heroes. Then we have C3, or the Azure Valley. Think the Freljord meets Ixtal from Runeterra. You see, it has frozen wilderness, spirits, and a lot of Fae influence, and nomadic tribes. So it's good for druids, rangers, hunters, and other mystical characters. Then we have C4, or Omari. Think Demacia or Noxus from Runeterra. See, it's a night continent torn by centuries of chaos and the kingdoms that survived it. This is great for characters that are shaped by honor, hardship, and fractured loyalties. And then we have C5, or Sereth Prime. Think Piltover or Zaun from Runeterra. A massive flying city of champions that travels worlds. So it's best for steampunk characters, fighters, inventors, and gladiator-style heroes. If you want deeper lore, you may check out the character creation guides. There's one for C0 Leonios, C2 Altaj, and C5 Sereth Prime at the time of this recording. You don't have to read all the character creation guides, but the info we just covered should be enough to at least give you a better idea of what to pick, choose, and eventually start playing. So step 2, let's create a character on D&D Beyond. So first things first you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to D&D Beyond. You're going to click characters, and then create a character on the website. You're going to choose standard, not random. Sources, make sure to enable all of them. Partner content, enable all except Minecraft, Rick and Morty, and Grim Hollow, and stuff like that. For dice rolling, you can enable it. Optional features, enable all. Advancement type, milestone. Hit point type, fixed. Use prerequisites, enable all. Show level scaled spells, enabled. Encumbrance type, make sure to use encumbrance. Ignore coin weight, enabled. Ability score and modifier displays, just put modifiers on the top. And make sure your character privacy is on public. That's very important. This is the only way that DMs will be able to actually access your character sheet. Then you get to decide your starting level, 1, 2, or 3, your choice. You see, in Aurora, you can start at either one of these 3 levels, and each level has its own benefits. You see, level 1 characters start with a free feat or a +2 ASI. They also will start with 0 AP or adventuring points. We'll talk more about that later. Level 2 characters start with a free +1 ASI. No, they don't get a choice of a feat though. They also start with 20 AP. Level 3 characters start with neither free ASI or a free feat, but they start with 40 AP. Now, the rules that we're using in PA or Project Aurora is 2014 rules. We're not using the 2024 rules, at least in the West Marches right now. So you're gonna wanna pick a 2014 race, your species. Then you're gonna wanna pick a 2014 class, your role. So like the fighter, the wizard, the rogue, etc. If you're not sure, maybe just pick a fighter, maybe pick a wizard or a rogue. Those are the pretty standard classes that a lot of new players typically pick. And if you're really overwhelmed, try fighter, and you can grow into different roles later. Also, just as a note, the 2014 Artificer and Blood Hunter are allowed third-party classes, but nothing else is allowed. Afterwards, choose your 2014 background, your life before adventuring, then let's fill out some stats. So you have a couple of stat arrays to choose from. You can either choose point buy, standard array, or one of the 3 Aurora stat arrays. Most players in Project Aurora choose the 3 Aurora stat arrays. You have your choice of specialists, which is individuals who are focused on 1 to 2 things, but they also have a detrimental flaw. Then we have the well-rounded, individuals who need to be good at a little bit of everything. And then we have the Aurora-verse special. It's kind of like well-rounded, but you're a little bit stronger in some things and a little bit weaker in others. If you've never played before, here's the simplest rule. Just pick whatever sounds fun for your race, your class, all that stuff, and you won't be punished for inexperience. You have plenty of people that's going to help you out and help you get involved in this awesome experience. For more detailed help, you can go to our website for our D&D Beyond character article. Step 3, once you've done all of that stuff, you're gonna get art and then make your token. So character art, let's talk about that. The art that you can use is art that you already own, you drew yourself, or you commissioned. You can also use art that is of Hero Forge screenshots of a Hero Forge character you made. You can also use free art you have explicit permission to use, and you need to make sure that you have proof ready to provide if someone asks you for it. Or finally, you can have purchase art from Aurora's shop. This is optional. There are no exceptions though. Don't steal people's art from online, and do not use AI art for your player character. This is mainly for streaming and content creation purposes, along with just general ethics. Step 4, add your character to the Aurora bot. See, this connects your D&D Beyond sheet to Aurora so you can actually sign up for the quest. So you're gonna go to the player bot testing zone, the channel over here, and then you're gonna type /create-character. The bot will ask you for a couple of things like your character name, pronouns, character level, species, subclass, class, a whole bunch of stuff. You're just gonna fill out every bit of it. It's gonna take a while, but it'll be worth it. Afterwards, if you need to edit your character later, just simply do /edit character to fix level, adjust item, or adjust for art, yada yada yada. If you ever want to view your character later, just do /view my character to see your profile. Step 5, leveling up and improving your character. So every session gives out AP, or adventuring points. Remember those things I was talking about earlier? So when you hit certain numbers, you go up a level. The bot tracks all of this. You just add AP after each quest. So ask your fellow players if you have questions. Once you get to 20 AP, you get to level 2. Once you get to 40 AP, you get to level 3, and so on. The ways that you can progress faster is by just going on quests, or you can fill out session logs. Session logs are basically recapping the events of what happened in session, just in character. You can write it down, post it, and share it with the world. You can also use downtime, but that unlocks at level 3. Downtime is an activity that you can use to either get more magic items, to work throughout the entire world, and a bunch of other cool stuff. You'll learn it naturally as you play, so hey, you don't need to memorize anything up front. Just focus on doing quests for now, and you're good to go. All right, we're gonna go to chapter 3, how to find quests and sign up. So quests are the heart of Aurora. They're the sessions you play in. And this chapter shows exactly where you're going to find them, how to sign up, and how to make sure you actually get picked for games. By the end of it, you're going to know exactly how to get into your first session. So step 1 is, where do you find quests? All quests are posted in the quest board on Discord. This page lists every active session you can sign up for across all of our continents. Each post will show the DM who's running it, continent, the rank requirement, aka rank 1 being levels 1 through 4. This is where you're going to start off at. Rank 2 being levels 5 through 8, and then rank 3s being levels 9 through 12. It's also going to display the type of quest, whether it's a normal adventuring quest, an RP night, or a raid. To help you out as a new player, I recommend that you just hit the filter button at the top of the forum, specifically rank 1 and roleplay night as well. This removes everything too difficult or high level for new characters. Once you hit level 3, you can probably start exploring more complex features. Until then, stick to rank 1s and RP nights. You'll learn faster and get into games more reliably. Step 3, how to sign up using credits. You see, every quest uses credits to register for quests. When you click on a quest, scroll to the quest queue bot's message under the post. You'll see 3 options: register, priority register, and joining as a standby. You see, registering as normal costs credits. It's standard priority. You're eligible to be selected. Priority register costs a little bit more credits. It's higher priority when the DM picks players. Joining as a standby means that you'll only get selected if someone drops. You can check how many credits you have by typing /check-credits. So what are credits? I've talked a little bit about it, but basically credits are Aurora's currency. You use them to join quests, get art, buy character slots, and unlock optional extras, but you never use them to gain in-game power. You get credits free every month, plus more from giveaways, events, writing prompts, and community participation. And you can also buy additional credits to purchase things like commissioned art from our team. You see, credits don't make your character stronger. They simply just give you more access to sessions, cosmetics, and convenience options so you can play the way you want. Step 4, when games run. This is more of like a scheduling tip. So Aurora's most active session times at the time of this recording is typically between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. EST. What I mean by that is that most sessions start between those times. Now, sessions typically last for 3 hours, so there may be a lot of sessions that start at 6 p.m. and then end at 9 p.m. EST. There also may be a lot of quests that may start at 9 p.m. EST and then end at midnight EST. So most quests fall into this window, however, there are plenty outside of it. If you want the highest chance of getting into sessions, try to keep that time slot open when possible. You know everything that you need to know to get started to play in Project Aurora, and you don't have to wait any longer. So with that said, feel free to ask as many questions as you need in the chat, and good luck, adventurers. You're gonna need it because Aurora's a big world, but you're here to conquer it.